All right, hello. I'm back. Okay, I've been drug away on a lot of holiday season type gatherings and things. Yeah, so the whole 9 yards. So I got delayed a little bit. Where I left it last time was frustrating. I thought I would get the firmware on the Kijimi project, but it didn't happen. And I was very, dejected for a little bit there, trying to figure out what was going on. I tried a bunch of different ways. I thought maybe it was the Mac M1 that I was using. Other people got it to work that way. I think James did. And I ended up switching to, I have an older Intel-based MacBook Pro around, and I ended up switching to that. I switched back to whatever was in the original directions. I think, I can't remember the exact version number, but I was using a newer version number of the Xmos software. So I fell back to whatever was listed in the directions. I don't know that makes a difference or not. I haven't heard anyone say either way. I did try flashing it a bunch of different ways and got errors. I listed those errors on the build forum. I think once it said different errors at different times. One of them did say it couldn't find the processor. Another one did say something about it, the cores weren't enabled or something. I think that was the last one that I was consistently getting. When I did power my board, I would get a random array of LEDs that would light up. And at first I thought, like, because when I first clicked it on, all the LEDs lit perfect. And I was like, okay, that's what it does. When you turn it on, all the LEDs come on to show that it has power. But then I started getting intermittent LEDs coming on, like a handful would be off in random orders. And each time I would kind of power off or power on the unit, the LEDs would come on in random sequences, and then if I did it a couple of times, they would all come on. So I thought, like, okay, great, maybe I have a ground or something that's causing this issue. Apparently from the build forum, that is not the case, that the LEDs will come on randomly before you have a firmware on there. So that is expected and normal behavior. I am skeptical, actually, that I have grounds and things, because I was pretty meticulous putting everything together. But from, suggestions on the build forum, Ando, he suggested that the MCU, I guess it's the master control unit, I'm guessing is what they're calling, but basically the main processor for the unit that's put on, that's surface mounted at the factory onto the circuit boards. It looks like that may have a grounding issue, which I think in a lot of cases, those big ICs that have like the legs that go around, a lot of times in the middle center, paste will be applied, and that is the grounding plane for the whole processor. And, and also heat wicks and all that stuff. So somebody, Ando thought that it may not be grounding properly. It might have not been properly grounded at the factory. Oy, so I'm a little bummed about that. He suggested taking off the hardware board, and when you flip it over, or is this a hardware board? No, this is the, I keep wanting to say motherboard, but the main board, I guess it's called. But if you flip it over, I took the hardware board off of it and flipped it over. And what you can see on there, I'll show you in a second, are 4 little holes that are right underneath the processor. And I'm not sure what those are. They look like vias kind of, but they're rather large. But at any rate, Ando was saying try to melt some solder down into those holes, so it would ground with the processor, and then maybe I can flash the firmware. Okay, so that's kind of the current mission. So what am I going to do today? I think what I'm going to do is I have some Kapton tape around. Ando was suggesting putting foil. I've never really used this Kapton tape. I watched a couple YouTube videos. Some people suggested that a kind of foil tape was much better than the Kapton and all this stuff. I don't know. And then I saw videos where the Kapton did quite well. So I think what I'm going to do is maybe put 2 layers of it around, all the way around, and just leave exposed, because there are a bunch of other vias you'll see in a second. But there are a bunch of other vias around and things, and I really don't want, because when you okay, so first off, Anda said, because I was debating, do I use an iron and try to just melt some and very pinpoint into one of those holes, or do I use the hot air? My first go-to was hot air, and it was right, I guess. Ando said, do not use an iron and try to melt it down in there, that you'll just cap the holes. And I was worried too, because that lead-free solder I'm using it melts at like 750 degrees. So I'm a little worried. I was even thinking, okay, maybe I'll have to just break down and get a little leaded solder somewhere that's a much lower melt and to try it that way. But he seems to think the hot air is the best as well. But I know when you heat the paste that I have, it tends to splay out and spread out. And there are a bunch of other little vias and things around, and I'm really worried about it. I mean, he was saying put flux down first and then use a needle and inject some solder paste into 1 or 2 of the 4 holes. I don't know that I don't have a needle that I can put that paste in. So I think what I'm going to do is the kind of applicator I have isn't quite a needle size. I think what I'm going to do is just put a drop on there and then maybe use the back end of a what do I want to say, a resistor, or maybe I could use, I don't know, just something like a little, if I have a little needle around here, like for sewing or something, maybe I could just kind of work some down into the hole. And then what I'm thinking though is mask off really well just all the way around those 4 holes with the Kapton tape. So then maybe if stuff does spread, it won't go onto any of the other vias or components around. It should just stay localized to that little square of 4 holes. So if it spreads, maybe that's okay. I think that's my plan. So I think what I'll do on stream today is I think I'm going to Kapton tape this, maybe 2 layers, put it around those 4 holes, see if I can apply some solder paste and get it worked down in maybe 1. I don't know whether to go 1 or 2. I'm also afraid that if I get too much paste on there, that if it does wick down through to the other side of the board, that then it could spread out and cause unforeseen connections, because I do see vias coming through the bottom of the board that look like they're under the processor, which kind of worries me that it's going to ground some other connection under there. I'm not really sure, because I haven't seen underneath the main processor, obviously. So I think I'm going to try for 1 hole away from those vias to begin with and see how that goes. And hopefully, I'm praying that it will go down there, wick through, and make some kind of ground connection, and that I can go ahead and flash the firmware. That is the plan so far. So I guess let's get to it. I'm going to switch over cams, and we'll get over there and start working from that side. See you in a second. All right. So I've switched over cams, and we're here now. Maybe what I will do before I put on the Kapton tape is let's just take a look at this thing through the microscope. Okay, there we go. Here's a good view through the microscope. So you can see the kind of 4 larger holes here. And, just kind of visually looking through here, it's really hard for me to tell, but I'm not sure that maybe they missed the solder paste. I mean, that shininess could be solder, but on another angle from another one that I had, it really was hard to tell. And these are the kind of vias that I'm talking about down here that I'm really worried about. Like if the solder paste spreads out, or these vias up here, that it might spread out and you know, connect something improperly here. So I think I am going to try to Kapton tape this really tightly around that square. So hopefully nothing else gets through. Now these are capacitors. I actually didn't surface mount these with my low melt paste, which is great actually. I'm sorry, you can't see those on screen. Okay, these are the capacitors. I did not solder those on with low melt solder. Those were soldered on with my lead-free, so those were at 750. So that's great because they're much higher melting temperature solder. So hopefully when I how to rework this and Kapton tape it all, it will just stay localized here more. I am a bit worried. Here, let's flip this over. The main processor is on this side. And you know, while I'm at it, I guess I should inspect all the legs there. Those look good. I am a little bit worried about the potential of, you know, breaking free this processor altogether, which is kind of terrifying. That when I start to heat it for the rework, that it may lift, this processor may fall off from the other side or lift. I don't know. I thought about maybe I should kind of Kapton tape that on. I don't know. That's a good kind of question, I guess, is maybe what I should do there. If I should try to put something to hold that in place, maybe I will do that. Maybe I'll put a piece of Kapton tape across here just in case it does loosen. Maybe it has the potential then to hold it in the proper position so it doesn't just fall off or shift or something. So maybe I'll do that as well. I think I will do that. Okay, so that's the plan. This isn't something I plan to do. I'm very nervous about this one since it is the main processor, and I'm sure even with the microscope, this one is quite the pitch on those are really small. So I'm hoping I don't have major problems with this. I hope it goes kind of quickly. I can just melt a little solder up, it gets through, and we can kind of move on. Fingers crossed. So I think I'm going to take this Kapton tape. It really, really smells horrible. I guess they call it polyamide. That's what it says on the box. I don't know if that's like the generic term for Kapton, or I'm imagining Kapton's a name brand. Oh my god, this stuff is... I said this before, but this is some of the worst smelling stuff I've ever smelled in my life. Maybe I'll switch over to this cam while I do this. There we go. It's kind of the iPhone cam. Okay, maybe one piece of this is enough. I don't know. I'm hoping that, you know, this stuff will just kind of at least... I'm worried too that I might heat it and then this stuff will kind of make it move because there's pressure on it. I don't know. Here, I'll switch back to the overhead microscope view. That's with the tape on. But I'm hoping that like a little bit of this on there would just maybe prevent it from moving. So I'll use just one more little sheet. This way, this direction. I don't know. Hopefully this does something. Okay, so that's there. We'll flip this guy back over. Find our 4 holes. There they are. And now I'm going to try to mask around this thing. Like I said, I'm going to try to get rather close. So it protects my capacitors over here from taking heat, and hopefully it will protect those vias that go through there as well. Oh my god, this stuff is like horrid smelling. I don't know if they all are like this or what, but it makes me like immediately feel like I'm having an allergic reaction. It's really, really extremely unpleasant to smell. Probably do not want to know what is in this stuff. It is just wretchedly horrible to smell. Okay. And I am kind of debating, I'm kind of doubling up here by doing this. But I am debating about maybe doubling up on this. I guess I'm already kind of doubling up by doing this. With these crossovers. Right? Sticking it to itself here. Okay, there we go. There, I've kind of masked that all out now. Let me look through the microscope. Oh, I got really close to that via. Oh, here's a little straight. I'm going to cut another one of these anyway. I did say I was going to do 2 layers, and I believe that I am. Okay, there. And then maybe I'll go a couple more layers this way, just like a little bit on each side. There was some debate online about, you know, some people were saying foil tape is just so much better. One video I saw, another video I saw said that this did quite well. Even like kind of no-name brands. I think this was an Amazon buy. I don't really remember where I got this. Oh boy, having trouble with this one. Okay. This top side doesn't have 2. I think I'll give it 1 more there. We'll call this good. Okay, 1 more layer here. I am going to press pretty good around the holes there. So hopefully if any solder or flux or whatever start to travel, they don't go under the tape and they'll just kind of stay localized. Okay, I'm going to try to get rid of this Kapton tape stuff or polymide, whatever it is. It smells absolutely awful. All right, I'm actually going to wash my hands now. I'll be right back. That stuff is wretched. Okay, that's taken care of. Let's get this back into view here. Oh boy, it looks really dark through there now. Let's see if we can adjust the polarizer. See if that will make any difference on your end or my end. Okay, a little brighter on my end. It doesn't seem to do much of anything on your end, except darken it up. Okay. Anyway, good enough. So you can still see what's going on there, and I can too. Okay, so there it is. I think what I'm gonna do now, is try to squirt a little paste into one of the holes. Which hole should it be? Probably should have decided that up front. I'm trying to see which ones are least. Maybe this bottom right one looks like it's the furthest away from a via. That's hard to tell. I mean, there is one right here, I remember, and I know there's some up here, and there's a bunch down here. It could be this top left one has ones over here. There's vias I see. I think that bottom right one is a good go. There is one right there, but I think that's the closest. So, and it's kind of has a little wider berth, maybe, from the caps. I don't know. I think I'm going to try this bottom right one. So I think my approach here is going to be to put some solder into that hole, bottom right hole, then coat it with some liquid flux, then give it the shot of hot air, and then try to reapply the firmware. I think that's it. So let's go for that. So I'm going to go ahead, pull out my solder paste here. I'm going to give it a little squeeze and try to just get a little extra out of the tip, maybe that was dried up in there. Okay, so let's try to go for this here. I got to stand while I do this. This is kind of difficult. I really need a new chair. Okay, that'll kind of go down in there. Okay, that's a little solder paste. Okay, I gave it just a bit more. I'm going to go with that. And then I am going to also do the same here. And now I'm going to clean just a little bit of flux out of the tip of my thing here. And then I'm going to go ahead and, oops, that looks really kind of manky on the end there. Did I get it? Looked very fuzzy, like there was junk all over it. Okay. Now I'm going to give this a kind of generous squirt of flux. Okay, there we go. Clean that guy off again. Cap both of these kind of off. Okay, there we go. So that's what it looks like. Let's give this a shot. I am working at 430 degrees again, Fahrenheit. So we'll see how this comes up. I'll let this heat a little bit. And fingers crossed. Somebody out there on the internet, say a little prayer for me. Okay, we're up to 430 it says, so I'm going to go ahead and apply heat. I do see the solder spreading just a bit. It is starting to kind of spread out and liquefy. Okay, I did see it did, the center kind of melted, but it doesn't to me. Oh wait, there we go. We got something now. It is changing over to solder. I mean, it is definitely melting. but I can't tell whether we really got anything down in there. I do see that the solder melted, but I'm not sure if we got anything. Can I get any closer? What if I adjust this way? I'd really like to get a little closer up here. It's really tough. I think that's about my max. Boy, that's hard to tell whether I got anything down in there or not. I mean, I saw it, and whatever was in there did go, but I think I'm going to give it a little extra because it just seemed to disappear there. Okay, I'm going to give it just a bit more there and a little bit more flux. Okay, there we go. And then I'm going to heat this guy again. I do see flux. It looks like it traveled under the tape. I can't tell whether it's on top or whether it went under. Looks like they're starting to ball the solder a little bit. Really tough to tell right there. I can't tell whether it has switched over or not. I didn't see an obvious kind of changeover to where it looks like where it turns to liquid. I think it may have. Trying to give it a little extra here. This fan, I don't know why I haven't had this fan on. Okay, I'm going to call that good. I think it did go. It's very difficult to see anything in there. And I think what I'm going to do... Should I remove my Kapton tape and just kind of clean up now? I think I have to. I think I need to remove the Kapton, clean up a bit. Boy, I'm going to open a window. This stuff smells terrible. I mean, I do see the flux around. I'm going to leave this to the side. Maybe we could reuse that. It doesn't look like we've lifted any caps. They all seem solid. I think we did okay. Now I think the trick is to do some cleanup with these guys and see where we get from there. I am going to do some alcohol cleaning now. Now let me flip this over, see how we did from this side. Get a little alcohol here. Oops, I guess we're not. If I'm not on cam, you're definitely not on cam. There we go. don't think I'm going to worry about clean. Well, maybe I'll just give it a kind of general cleaning here and get most of this flux off, but I'm not going to go crazy cleaning until I'm, I guess, sure I got this. Or maybe I should just clean it really well, because if I did get it, then I won't have to open it back up. I mean, I can definitely see stuff down in there now, and I can see some solder, I guess, on the neighboring. What do I want to say? The neighbor pin, the one right above it. It looks like some solder got up there as well. I guess that would be a good thing, because maybe it spread out underneath a little bit after it went in the primary hole. But it's extremely difficult to tell, really. That cleaned up quite nicely. It looks good. From this angle, it looks pretty good. There's definitely some solder in that hole. I mean, I guess I have 3 more tries if that one didn't ground. There's still just a little flux from the no clean flux on my capacitors and this stuff over here, but not really, nothing big. I think I'm going to test this as is. Okay, so I'm going to move that back, get that out of the way, and I'm going to kill the fan here now and get this stinky Kapton tape moved away, or polyamide or amide. Okay, so there you go. That looks pretty good to me. Let's see if this would work. So I'm going to switch back. What camera would be good? Maybe this one for the time being. I'll switch back to and widen out a bit. That's zoom in. I'll widen out a bit, and we'll keep it there. There, I guess, for focus. And what am I going to do? I'm going to move this guy back out of the way. And then we are just going to reassemble here, I guess. And then move these components out of the way. I have my voice board and my power board here. Voice board and main power board. And the breakout board and the programmer stick up here. Just so you guys know, I did ditch this separate audio cable because these connections are a little bit loose sometimes and they start to work out. And I thought, well, maybe I'm having issues with this or something. So I eliminated this for the time being for testing. And what I did is just, I put the jumpers back in place on the boards. So there is one jumper on this main board and one jumper on where the heck is it? Maybe on this board or on the breakout board. And I definitely put those back in place. For testing, just to eliminate any kind of other issues that way. Just so you know, that's what I'm doing. And then I think if I can get the firmware on here and it's working properly, I plan to switch back to the other style of interface for the connectors. Wait, it is extremely difficult for me to tell when these things are aligned, these pins. Okay, there. I'm almost positive I got those. Okay. It looks like this board is back on. Okay. It's on there snugly. I think I am going to just go ahead and put all the screws back in. I think... I don't know. I don't know if I need to or not, or maybe I'll at least do several of them just to get it tacked on there really well. I think that's what I'm going to do. Maybe I'll just do my outside corners or something. And then we can see if we can flash the firmware and see if we have any luck. I pray that this was the problem and that this was the solution. Okay, I have 4 of those on there on each of the corners. I think that's plenty. I think what I'm going to do now is go ahead and reseat my power board. There we go. And I'm going to leave the voice card off because they said that that doesn't matter whether it's on or off for this to work properly. I'll go ahead and reseat my power connector there, and then also on the breakout board. And then I'll put back in the ribbon cable for the breakout board as well. So, okay, there we go. And like I said, I have the jumpers in since I'm skipping out that other kind of step there. So, okay, so we have our breakout board. This is connected properly. We have our power board connected in there. I'm leaving out the voice card. I am going to also, if I can find my little bag, I'm going to put these standoffs with a screw just to hold the power board in place, just so there's no questions of maybe the power board moving around or something while I do this. Like when I stand it up on edge, I want to have that power board moving. So I'm going to go ahead and just screw these guys in, and that will kind of guarantee that that guy isn't traveling anywhere. Okay, those guys are in. Those are on. That's connected. I guess now what I'll do is I will apply power back to the board and see what we got. Okay, so I'm going to take my connector now. There we go. We're plugged in, and I will. Okay, we did get power to the main board. Okay, and now we do have all the LEDs lit up when I did that. At first, no LEDs lit up, and I just wanted to see that definitely we're getting power. Okay, so that's okay. So I'm going to turn that off now. For this next step, I'm going to try to move this over a bit. Make sure we're not touching anything or grounding something strange. I think we're just fine in all those ways. I'm not touching anything over here. Okay, and what I'm going to do is grab my stack of books because the programmer is quite short. I'm going to go ahead and plug in the programmer. Okay, and move my multimeter, grab my books. Stick these here because this is my kind of stand for the Mac. Okay. And let's get this guy fired up. And then once this guy's fired up, I can kind of, I'll plug in the programmer and see if we get anything there. Now, I can't remember who it was. Patrick from DSL Man was suggesting that I use the absolute path to the firmware file name, meaning I guess including the extension. I didn't do that. For some reason, I don't think that's the issue. I've burned a bunch of other firmwares in the past and never had anything like that. I mean, it is possible. If this doesn't work and it's not this issue, I think I will try something like that. Okay, so here I have the Mac fired up. I have the terminal window open. Let's see, can I make this bigger? I don't know if you're going to be able to see this on your end. I'm going to kind of make this as big as I can. Move this over a bit. Being very careful about grounds or anything. Okay, so there we go. The programmer's in there. I guess you guys can't really see the whole thing on your end. Can I move this over even more? I'm going to try to move all of these out of the way. Trying to get this out of the way so you can see more of the Mac screen, and I can also plug in the programmer properly. Oops, I switched screens. Okay, there we go. I'll pull this back a bit. Is this guy going to reach? It's a little tough. There, will that work for you guys? You guys kind of can see that stuff in there. But maybe you're missing a little bit, but that's okay. So I am going to go ahead and plug this guy in. Okay, that is program. I can see power to the programmer. What I'm doing is changing to the XMOS. It's the community 14.3.3. I am using that one. I'm not using the newer one. I'm going to do the set environment command, which changes me over to bash. And then I have, this is the flashing of the firmware command. So this should be it. Okay, I guess here it goes. It may error the first time and I need to do the settings again. I'm not sure. Let's see what happens. Error. Input file for option not found. What am I doing here? Oh, I don't think I did the CD to the... Yeah, I didn't do it. There. I didn't change directory on the desktop to where the firmware was first before I launched that. Okay, here we go. There. It looks like it's going. I'm going to give this power. I saw that flash for a second. Fingers crossed here, literally. Okay, so it is thinking. This is, I did see it think on the, see some flickering up here in the command line toolbar up there, which has happened before. Right now, it only has a green light on the programmer. See it? Same error. Shoot. I do see cannot load image Xcore 0 is not enabled. Just not sure. Not sure what that means. I don't know if that means it's not getting to the processor, or I mean, like maybe it's still not grounded. I am just not sure. So I don't know what the deal is at this point. I don't know if I should try to hot air some more solder down a couple of the holes. Maybe squirt a little extra this time. I don't know. I'm just not sure. Let's see. Oh, I see somebody write something. Maybe try using a different cable. Yeah, I will do that. For some reason, I have doubts that it's the cable, but it could be. This is weird. Thanks, Jimmy. I'm glad you got yours working at least. Let's see here. So maybe I will try to switch out this cable. This is quite a substantial cable, though, and it is nice and short. Where do I have some other ones laying around? I have some here. These are not like the most awesome cables, but let's give one of these a try. because it's just around. Let's try this one. And you know what? Just for good luck, maybe I'll switch out the USB-C adapter as well and give that a whirl. Okay, let's kill power on the Kijimi. I'm going to go ahead and plug this guy in. See the programmer there. And then if this doesn't work, I think what I'll try is what Patrick from DSL Man said, which is the whatever the absolute file name is of the SST file, I guess. So I made sure that's seeded in there well. Okay, so let's go ahead and launch that and power this guy. This time no LEDs came on, but apparently that's not a big deal. Let's see what we get. Yeah, and then I think the plan from there would be to maybe try to throw some more solder down one of those holes, maybe another adjacent hole or something, and maybe give it just a little bit more paste this time or something, to try to ensure that I really have a good ground going in there. Yep, same one. Xrun cannot load image. Xcore is not enabled. So I'm going to go ahead and power the Kijimi off. Yep, I am having the same error. I am skeptical that it's going to be the cable, but it is possible. I have had that be an issue before in previous builds. But it was usually when I was using a longer cable and really, what I want to say, cheap cable once. That happened to me. Okay, so that's a bummer. I was really hoping that would be my fix. I am a little disappointed that I'm like fighting factory defects now and not, just a mis-solder here or there, but I guess that's the way it goes. Okay, so let's see. I'm going to get this guy out of the way. Maybe what we can do is Kapton this guy off again and try for another hole. I don't know. Oh wait, I didn't try my absolute file name on there. Maybe I'll try that. I don't think that's the issue, but I will try that. That's what Patrick said to try. He wrote the guide, so it's probably a worthwhile suggestion to try that. Although I don't know why I am very skeptical that is the issue. James, I think I saw you said that you used a MacBook M1 and you got a bunch of errors too. I was really worried about that. That happened to me too. I just kept hitting allow like 10 times and it kept saying weird stuff, and then finally it looked like it made it through or something once. I'm not sure. But I ended up switching over to this Intel machine of my wife here, and it was a little smoother. Okay, let's see what we can get here. So I'm going to plug that back in. I am going to do an ls-la. Okay, well, yeah. I think that's not really going to do much because that is the absolute file name. It does not have an extension on there. Patrick said, do an ls in Linux, list the directory, and see what the file name is. And it has no extension. So it's not like it had an extension, it was hidden or anything like that. So I'm going to go ahead and unplug this again because that is not the issue. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of this guy, get rid of this again, and then go about this again. What's it say? It says, yeah, you tried using a PC as well, no dice, huh? Oh, you're having a bunch of other issues now. Oh, wow. I saw your post on the build forum that was talking about, I can't remember what it was. It was something in the SynthCube build list that was wrong, and I think that was for the voice cards, but I'm not sure. I have to reread that again. I mean, maybe that is my problem. I thought it didn't apply to me, but perhaps it does, and I'll check that next. But if it's voice card related, that shouldn't be an issue for me. But if it's not voice card related, then perhaps it is an issue for me, and I don't know yet. So I'll have to double check that reading as well. I'm going to see, I just saw a message pop up there. What's it say? On the hardware board. Okay, well, transistor looking thing. Okay, I see too. Well, perhaps that could be my problem as well. I can't remember what version I bought. I bought this back. Yeah, I think I might be fine though, because on my pots, I haven't tested the pots. Maybe I should do that and then double check that part. I do remember putting the transistor looking part in. Maybe I should check what that was now. I remember you're not talking now, James. Are you talking about on the power rail getting 3.3 or less than 3.3, like measuring the power rail? Because I remember when I did my power rails, they were all fine. But it looks like you're saying you're measuring over the pots. So perhaps that's another issue that needs to be looked into. How did you measure those? Were you able to stick your probes in like from the side where it's sandwiched to touch the leads on the pot? Is that how you measured yours? Like, because I was just looking, if the board is sandwiched together, the only thing I think I could do is push leads here in the side and try to touch them, maybe like one of these ones on the side here. But it looks rather difficult. I'm guessing that's what you did, huh? Or you took the front panel off. See, that's where I'm terrified to take the front panel off. Because yeah, that's what you did. I think I would have to try to do it from the back, because this is where my problem with that hole, where I screwed up the first time and put in all the pots before I put the front panel on, so it's a really tight fit. So I'm terrified to take the front panel on. I might not get it back on, so maybe I could, and to confirm, pin 2 is the center pin, correct? So you went center pin to ground, and you're measuring for 3.3 volts. So maybe I'll do that on one of these that I can see from the side there, and then I could test those guys maybe to see that I'm getting that. Yeah, correct. Okay, great. So maybe I'll do that now, and see before I continue on with this other craziness. See if I can at least see if I have that problem, because I can see from the side here one of these pots. Get in there. Yeah, that's one there, like this rate. So perhaps I can get into there and measure. DC, and then I see a ground up here, so maybe I can go ahead and do that. So I'll switch this on. Okay, there, and just verify my power rail first. And that's 5 volt. Where's 3.3? I have 3.3 there. Now let's go to 3.244. So I'm going to call that 3.3, right? I mean, it's a slight bit low, 3.244, but that should be within tolerance, I think. What were you getting on those center pins? I had 3.244. It's a little dip, but that seems like it should be within working range to me, no? It's like a what, 0.5 volts off? Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I think you said you were getting 1 point something, 1.5 or something on those. So I think, I remember buying my SynthQ package very early on, I think. So I'm not sure if I have version 1 or 2. But at any rate, at least measuring that one pin on there, it seems like I'm getting the correct voltage. Yeah, 1.6. Incorrect shunt regulator. Okay. So I'm going to assume right now, anyway, that I have the correct regulator on there, because at least that one was giving me the proper voltage. Okay, so yeah. So what am I going to do now? I think I'm going to go ahead and man, this is so terrifying. Like I keep filling up these holes, and I'm afraid, like, I'm going to get to hole 2. I mean, at least I have a couple more that are potentials to try to do this on, but I'm worried that I'm going to get to a point where I fill up the holes, and then I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to have to do at that point. Maybe try to reflow the whole main processor. I mean, that seems crazy. I really hope I don't have to try to do something like that. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and unscrew these guys again. Glad I didn't put them all in. There we go. So I'm curious, James, what other problems are you having? You said so you had the shunt regulator problem. Are you waiting for that part maybe? So I guess if you had that, you weren't able to calibrate or do any of those things. Okay. Trying to gently work this guy loose again. Okay. Come on. Boy, this thing's tight. There we go. Okay, it popped off. Okay, so I'm going to get my hardware board out of the way. Put this guy back down. What's next now? Let's pull this microscope back out. Everything's kind of still set up for soldering. Let's take a look at this guy. So, boy, I really wonder if this is the problem because to me, it looks quite good. Like I'm not sure that I missed getting the solder down in there, but I mean it is possible. Let's see, a bunch of chats here. Oh, the voice. So you still had problems in your voice? Yeah. Yeah. We'll see. We'll see how I go there. If I ever get to that point. Yeah. Okay. So, well, if you whenever you get your shunt regulator and all this stuff, really wishing you good luck. James, that you get something working and that your voice cards calibrate. The Kapton's lifted up here a little bit on this side, but I think that's okay. It seemed to do a really good job kind of thermally masking the rest off. I'm going to leave that as is, and I am going to put that piece back on the back side again, just as a precaution that if it did reflow during heating, that it might keep my processor in place. Okay, so and then let's take a look at this under the microscope again. I think that's the right one. Yeah. Okay. There we go. So that first hole, to me, absolutely looks like it. But it could have wicked to the sides of the hole and just done that. So I think this time what I'm gonna do is maybe work that top right hole maybe, and try to or either the top right or top left. Maybe I'll go diagonal, and I'm going to try to squirt more paste in there to try to ensure that it makes its way all the way down. I think I'm going to really try to get it in there. Maybe if I can find, here, let me find a piece of a resistor leg or something. Maybe it's small enough. Let me test that. Then it'll go down in there, and then maybe we can, yeah, it definitely is. Okay, so what I'm going to do is take this resistor leg, and once I get the solder there, I'm going to work it down into that hole to try to really make sure that paste is going to get down in there this time. Okay, so that's the plan. Let's do it. I am going to go to this top right hole. It's quite... a little more than last time. Take that resistor leg. Okay, so that definitely did not go down. I mean, maybe I pulled it off with the leg, but that was just kind of sitting around the edge of the hole. So it did not go down in. I'm going to do this again. And I'm going to keep working this. The problem is the paste is just kind of working its way up the post now. But that looks good. That looks like I actually got some down in there now. Okay, that was much better. And then I think I'm actually going to just do a touch more. And I'm going to work it in again. Hope I'm not overkilling this. I don't want to squirt solder around where it doesn't need to be, but at the same time, last time it seemed like we didn't get it down in there. Okay, that feels much better. That feels complete. So now I'm going to give this kind of a generous shot of flux. Still keep getting hairs and fibers in there. Okay, I'm going to give that quite a bit of flux this time. Okay, there we go. Fingers crossed. Let's heat this guy up. We're like 130 right now. Okay, we're at 430 now. I'm going to go ahead and start this guy. Okay, I do see the solder getting under the mask. Probably should have created a better mask, or a new mask. I'm not trying to reuse, but I think it'll be okay. I do see it kind of traveling, wicking along the edges of that mask though. Okay, I see kind of a bubble forming there in the middle of the paste. It's definitely going under the Kapton tape because I see it lifting up. Hopefully, there we go. I think we reflowed some of it anyway. Trying to get it directly down. Okay, I definitely see it reflowing in the hole now. And it looked like it definitely was down in there. Trying to keep it open a little extra just to make sure I get it down in there. Whatever is happening down in there flowed. Okay, I think I'm going to call that good. It looks like it reflowed down in the hole there. Boy, it's super tough to tell. I mean, I definitely see a shiny silver down in there. So that's good. Let this cool a little bit. I'm going to pull up this tape. Hopefully, it's quite warm. Hopefully, we didn't flow any of our capacitors. Our capacitors actually look fine. It's looking good. I don't think we reflowed any of the capacitors. I think because we did take it up to a little higher there, feels hotter, and I think I am going to just test all the capacitor. I'm going to test the capacitors with the continuity. Before we go. Probably should have done that last time. But I am going to give this a good cleanup now and see kind of where we stand. Okay, yeah, that's looking quite good. I don't think we got any extra solder where it wasn't supposed to be. I don't see any of the other vias clogged up. Wherever it traveled, it was fine. So I think reusing the Kapton tape was actually not bad at all. It seems to have done pretty well. I think I'm going to just kind of really, with this PEC pad now, really generously kind of flood this with alcohol. see what this looks like. It's hard to tell on here, but from my perspective, I know I definitely got more solder down in that hole. And the other one reflowed as well, and it looks good as well. But, I mean, who knows? Can't really see down in there completely properly. I'm just praying that whatever it is, I kind of got it a little better, I guess. You know, this time. I mean, I think it was definitely a good move to take the leg of the resistor and keep shoving it down in there. I'm pretty confident that I got it, you know, contacting ground floor. I was hitting the ground floor of the processor all the time. And it does look like it's nice and shiny in there this time. I'm going to call that good. I do think I am going to run continuity on the leads now just to double check. And then I'm going to test this again. Okay, let me get these things untangled. And then I'm going to switch over to continuity here and run a few of these guys. Put this guy back. Goes out of the way. And let's run a few of these. Well, that's weird. I think I may have grounded that one. Or it's the alcohol in there that hasn't dried off yet. Oh, these I'm hearing it on a couple of these now. I think I might have to rework a couple of these. Oh, those two over there were weird. Yeah, I'm getting grounds on. I think some of these are grounded now. Yeah, like this I'm getting 56.1. And it's not beeping. They're doing strange stuff that they haven't done before. Usually it says open lead. Super strange. So I don't know what's going on here. I gotta see what that means. But these are reading like 53, 52. This one's reading 57. 53 now. This one's reading 56, 55. And it's just like, it's not beeping, it's going. I don't know if you can hear it, but it'll be like. It's really strange. Let's try one of these over here. Okay, that's normal, the kind of quick beep, and then it says OL. This one just says OL. OL. Okay, here's one where it's making a noise, and it's reading, it's not a beep, but it says 55. So, it does not look bridged though, which is weird. This one's reading jumping. Now it says OL. I don't know, maybe it's an alcohol thing. Maybe I need to let this dry for a while. This one's OL. 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 These are ones I tested before that were giving me problems that aren't now. I'm suspicious and thinking perhaps it was the alcohol, that it was like, because now this says OL. I'm gonna have to definitely wait a few minutes here and test these all again. I think I was getting weird readings because of okay, so this one's strange. I'm gonna have to test all these now for sure. But the ones that I was originally testing over here, they're not exhibiting the same symptoms, so to speak. These over here were reading like 53, 54. Okay, this one still is. And it wasn't a second ago. Okay, this one is again now too. And this wasn't just 5 seconds ago. So I'm kind of perplexed now. See, now it's reading OL. Nope, now if I move it over a little bit, now it says 62. I'm wondering if I'm going to need to try to reflow a couple of these. These ones were actually hand soldered. So I'd have to use the iron for these. Maybe that's my issue. Maybe the whole time, maybe I just didn't catch this somehow on my first. Because this one is reading 11 now. 70, 68. Yeah, weird. So those capacitors are definitely doing weird things now. I think I'm going to have to, what do you call it? Thoroughly re-continuity test these and then try to rework any of these. James, if you're still out there, what were you getting as readings when you had any of these capacitors not working properly? Curious. Like this one is just reading a number of 64. So I'm imagining any of these ones reading numbers are problematic. This one says OL. But if see, it just depends what angle I catch it on. Yeah, several of these are reading numbers now, so I think I have problems. Although it's really weird when I study these, it seems almost impossible that they are bridging anything, but they're like several of these are reading 60s again. 66, 64. Huh. Okay, let's try the other side of the board and see what I'm getting here. Move this mouse out of the way. These are already fine over here now. But like I said, the ones on the side close to where I just reworked were definitely not. But I'm positive they were before. See, now I'm like super paranoid that it's not the capacitors, that I've connected something on the main board now, the main processor, that is, you know, bridging. Here, I'm going to move down. These are all testing just fine down here. Trying to kind of go more methodically now. I was just kind of testing, but sometimes they will beep just for a second, and then it goes away. Okay, that one's okay. One seems okay. Okay. So that eliminates this kind of bottom side of the board. And let's continue along this top edge. So what I'm doing is probing and then looking over at the multimeter to make sure it says OL. Just to make sure, you know, we're not getting anything. Because what was happening with the other ones were they were not beeping continuity, but it was just giving me a reading of a number, which I'm assuming is not good. Okay, I'm going to move down here to the middle sections now and test all these on the middle. So far, so good. None of these have reacted in any way, other than those quick beeps at the beginning. Sometimes I accidentally hit something else, or it's when I first touch the capacitor for a second, it will do it and then go away. I'm going to just keep moving down the middle here. Sorry if it's not in on your screen. It's really hard to tell sometimes. But it is weird. The other ones were, like I said, reading 50s to 60s and making like a cycling sound. It wasn't beeping. It was like whoa, 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 whoa. That's the best I can describe it. Okay, this one beeped for a second and then now it says oh well. I think it's okay. I slipped there. Beeps for a second, but then goes away. Okay, good. Now let's try these guys. We are kind of getting towards the middle of the board now. I mean, towards the right hand side where I was seeing bad stuff. Or potential bad leads. Okay. I don't think any of those are problems. Okay, let's move. I don't think I've done these down here now. Some of these I may end up doing twice, but that's okay. I know I did that one though. Let's do this bottom row. I think I did these too, but I don't know what that was. It beeped, but then Nothing. Assuming that's okay. Okay, so the very bottom of the row. So now we're just around the processors, all I have to test. I'm going to start doing those guys. Okay, and we're going to do this because this is where I was having the issues. So let's try this guy. No. So now these ones are only around the processor that I'm going to be looking at. I'm going to go top edge first. You wait. Oh, my multimeter shut off. I think that's what that beep was. I don't know why it would shut off while I'm using it, but nothing there. Let's try this guy. Oh wait, I think I saw something there. Shoot. Yep. And I am almost certain that this wasn't a problem before. So, unfortunately, I think whatever I just soldered, I probably caught something else underneath there. Because these are now reading. I'm trying to see if I can see anything from this edge. Nothing looks problematic, I don't think, on this side. Well, shoot. So I think I've introduced more problems now because these capacitors are definitely reading like 62, 60 something ohms. This one's reading 62.3, 65, 64. That one's open. Open, open, open. This one's reading a number, and this one is reading a number, and this one's reading open. The problem is I am absolutely positive. I mean, looking at these, I really don't think these are bridging. And all of these at the very beginning were fine. I know that. I tested them all. So now I'm really confused. If I've cross-connected something internally with the processor now or what. Shoot. Let's test these. Open. Okay, this is reading a number, 70 point something. High 60s. This one's reading 62. Open. Open. This one's reading a number. 63. This one's reading open. This one's reading 60 something. Huh. I can actually see, it seems like there's a pin that's leading around to all of these, and each one that's connected to that one seems to have this issue. Open. Okay, I bet these will be all open. Yep. Well, I'm kind of isolating it to which strand or what have you. This one is definitely having that issue. Shit. Open. 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 This one's the same. So I bet everything in this string that's connected to that, because I'm following this like via line here. I don't know if you guys can see it. There's a line that runs right there. And probably everyone connected to that one is now going to read a certain percentage or a certain number. And they are. And this one is not. But this one will because it's connected to the same one. So now the question is it a single one doing that, or is it a series of them? Also up here along this one, anything running along that via, and it runs down to those three. And I think actually this one somehow is interconnected as well, because it is reading a number as well. So it looks like these three here are connected up here to these four. Those are all connected, and then these four run down to these three, and actually this fourth one here are connected. Looks like these inner ones are okay though. Getting an all clear on the inner ones, but not in that outer one. It's really these 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then these 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, well, that's a bummer, but not kind of unexpected. So I think before I would give this power again, I need to do some investigations and asking the forum and other such stuff. So I think that is where I stand. Let's see, let's come back over here. Switch back to this one. All right. So let's see, what did James write? Yeah, since you were saying you kept getting weirdness with continuity. Yeah, it's just strange because I kept getting just OL all the time when I first tested that board. But now, for some reason, after fooling with this, I am getting number readings on those few there, like 50s to 60s. I think I would like to pass that by the guys on the build farm and just see, but maybe before I power it up again. I don't know, but maybe it's now because the processor, I actually did get it grounded, that now the capacitors are reading differently because it's actually properly grounded now and it wasn't before. So I mean that could also be what's happening. Not sure. I mean, I'm dying to just plug this thing in and go, but I I think I should probably be cautious at this point and pause here, ask a build form question, and then maybe stream a bit later or tomorrow morning or something. I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to wait here, ask some questions, and then go from there. All right. So I will be back hopefully tomorrow or this evening later to test this thing, and I would love to get some at least firmware on here. We'll see. So there we go. I'm going to leave it here. Have a great day wherever you're at.